and welcome back to the Week of Blood. So the World Eaters are out. They're freaking awesome. Yesterday I released a video on some of their top abilities, and some of you guys had some interesting recommendations down in the chat. So today I'm bringing you the top 4 units that you really need to strongly be considering for the armies that you're going to be bringing in the World Eaters. And if you're not playing the World Eaters, well, you need to strongly consider how you're going to be handling these monstrosities. I'm going to break them down right now. So there are just lots of great units in this codex. Okay, I can't talk about, well, I guess I could, and maybe at one point I will talk about all of them, but I'm not going to talk about all of them in this video. One thing to keep in mind is that every single detachment here has some really exciting things, and there are going to be some abilities to take certain units in the codex and make them brilliant in one detachment. That is not what I'm talking about today. Today I'm talking about the units that are going to be used absolutely everywhere, and you're just always going to love them because they are just freaking awesome, basically of their own accord. And I will include some ways to spice them up a little bit based on certain detachments, just because that's what I do. I want everyone to understand how these interactions work, and I want to make sure that you're having the best time possible on the tabletop. So with that, let's break it down. Oh, jeez. Also, one last thing. Guys, don't forget that the Vessels of Wrath detachment does exist. And I'll be doing probably like a detachment tier list for this because, oh my gosh, these detachments are just really, really cool. But just don't forget that Vessels of Wrath, which was the Grotmans detachment, exists and works with this codex, and it works well. In my opinion, I don't know, it might actually be the best, but we'll see. It's probably not maybe the best, but man, it's a contender. Anyway, I have one honorable mention for you, and then I'm going to get into the top 4 codexes, units in the codex. Now, this is honorable mention. It's the humble hellbrute. It's an honorable mention because he's only really good in one detachment, which is why I'm not actually including him in the list. And there's lots of other examples of this. There's tons of other units in the codex that are really good in one detachment, and none of them made it. I just kind of wanted to give you an example of how good some of these units are that didn't make it, though. So this is your unlimited fighting dreadnought. I kind of talked about him a little bit in yesterday's video, but he is a total beast, but he does really want Berserker Warband, because in Berserker Warband, you know, that power scourge goes from 10 attacks at strength 7 to 11 attacks at strength 9, and you have the stratagem to take him from AP1 to AP2, damage 2. Now he has the unlimited fighting hacks, and since you're in World Eaters, you could always use your Blessings of Khorne to give him the 6-inch pylon and consolidate. Oh my gosh, that's strong! It is absolutely brutal. You could, of course, give him the Fist, which would be like 6 attacks, strength 12, or 7 at 14, and Berserker Warband, AP2, AP3 with a strat. At damage 3, that's good, but when you can have 11 attacks at strength 9, AP2 damage 2, you're cleaving through infantry, and you're putting a serious beating on most vehicles. And since when the vehicle hits you back, you get to hit it again, you're killing most non-super battle tanks. So like if this guy charges a Rhino, for example, even if he doesn't outright kill it, the Rhino has to hit him back, which means he hits the Rhino back again. So then he does kill the Rhino, because it's effectively going to be 22 attacks at strength 9, AP 1 or 2, damage 2. That's a lot. So, and remember, you're still World Eaters, so if you also happen to have sustained hits or whatever, that's definitely still happening, which is disgusting. And then once the Rhino dies, if you have your 6-inch consolidate on, you're just can easily consolidate into anything that comes out of the Rhino. And that's brutal, because then the unit that gets out of the Rhino has to hit your hellbrute, which means your hellbrute gets to hit them back. This is a very, very powerful unit, and it's an example of some of the great combinations you have in the codex, but are more detachment dependent. This one is kind of dependent on the Berserker Warband. So let's get into the actual list. Number 4 is the Demon Prince. I am so excited to see the renaissance of Demon Princes, whether it's the flying Demon Prince from Emperor's Children, which is a total beast, or to the foot Demon Prince for the World Eaters. Now, the World Eaters also have a flying Demon Prince, and you can make him pretty spicy with an enhancement, but that just makes him a little bit more expensive and slower than the Emperor's Children one, so I'm not really super pumped up about that World Eaters Demon Prince, even though he probably still has a place. So we're going to talk about the Foot Prince here. Now, this guy has a 12-inch aura of discounting CP once per battle round. That's very freaking important. So any unit that's within 12 inches of him that is a World Eaters unit can have -1 to the CP cost of stratagems. And there are some great freaking stratagems in this codex in every single detachment. So every single detachment instantaneously wants help with command point generation. Demon Prince is your boy. Then he is a monster in melee. I think he's got, 8 attacks at strength AP2, 8 or strength 8, AP2, damage 3, and he's got a sweep attack, which is going to be 16-ish attacks. I've got a stat somewhere around here. I don't exactly remember where it all was, but this guy is a nightmare on the sweep. And that causes really, really big problems for a lot of your infantry. Now, when you're in certain detachments, say Berserker Warband, his 16 attack sweep profile will go to 17 attacks. It'll go up to strength 7 at AP 1, damage 1, and you can make that AP 2. Then you can always stack on the enhancements. So let's say you want to play in Cult of Blood. This boy will get +1 toughness and a 5 Feel No Pain from all the enhancements. That makes him a beast to kill as well. I think I accidentally skipped over the strongest thing about this dude. He has Lone Up when he's within 3 inches of World Eater's infantry. This is real Lone Up. It's not 18, it's 12-inch Lone Up, which means this monster is so hard to deal with. And with a movement of 10, he's still getting where you want him to go. All right, so we talked about the Cult of Blood. We can give him +1 toughness and a 5 Feel No Pain. If you're taking him in Berserk Warband, you can give him the Berserker Glaive for +1 attack and damage. So suddenly that sweep attack gets real nasty with that sweet, sweet damage 2, or his strike profile at damage 4. That is gross, especially when you consider that with the +1 attack from that and the +1 attack from charging for Berserker Warband, his sweep attack goes to, was it 18 attacks at strength 7, AP 1, 2 with the strat, damage 2. That's gross. That's a lot. You can also give him the Helm of Brazen Ire to give him the -1 damage, which is also very, very good. And if you're taking 2 of these, then you're probably doing that. So in the Demons detachment itself, you have the one where you can take Demons as allies. You have a enhancement where you can give them +1 attack, strength, and damage. That's great on his sweep attacks. That's great on his strike attacks. He loves it. And then you can give him the Archslaughter enhancement on Vessels of Wrath for, you guessed it, +1 AP and damage. So there are so many detachments that love this guy. There's just always going to be support for him. You love him. He's here to crush your enemies. He's a Demon Prince for the World Eaters on foot, and it's awesome to see him get such a huge glow up. Now, it does look like he's going to be approximately 200 points on release. This might be appropriate. It might be inappropriate. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he needs to be closer to that 180 level, but the reality, when you give him that Lone Up, it just means he's not going to die until you're in striking range, which is where World Eaters want to be doing. So 200 might be correct for him. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him drop down to like that 190 level, but he is very good. He's very interesting, and I'm excited to see him on the tabletop. Let's go to the number 3 unit in the Codex right now. This is the freaking forgefiend. Now, stick with me here. This guy gets about 0 detachment and 0 stratagem support, and he needs none of it. You're going to want this guy in every single World Eaters list. That doesn't mean he's going to be taken in every single World Eaters list, but he's always going to be wanted. He has a legendary glow up. He lost 1 ballistic skill, so now he hits on 4s, and everyone's like, oh no, I hit on 4s. But he gained rapid fire 1, and he's going to have 3 guns with the ectoplasm. You're always taking ectoplasm. You're probably never taking Hades autocannons. And now he gets full rerolls to hit in half range. That's awesome. That means that he's got a very threatening Overwatch. That means that he threatens everything in shooting, because at minimum it's going to be 3d3 plus 3 shots, because it's going to be rapid fire for each gun. Now, if you're shooting into anything that gives you blast, it's going to be blast plus 3, and then the 3d3. And the amount of shots that this guy is putting out is psychopath. It is stunning. So if I'm shooting into a 10-man brick of Chosen, for example, and I happen to be within 18 inches of that unit, and with my movement of 10, that's very possible, especially if you're running him in Gore Track, where he can walk through walls using a stratagem. Suddenly you get him within 18 inches, you're shooting 3d3 plus 9 shots effectively when you combine the blast and the rapid fire. Full rerolls to hit, strength 10, AP 3, damage 3. You're picking up a 10-man unit of Chosen with that. It is nasty. So these guys are just bonkers strong. It's looking like they're going to release at roughly 150 points. Might be a little cheap. That probably needs to go up to that 165-ish level, I would think. But you know what? Starting at 150, I think that's totally okay to start with, and balance will happen from there. These guys just have wonderful synergy in every detachment because they don't care about strats. They don't care about detachment rules. They're just good. So the Forgefiend, total boss. Then we're looking at the Chaos Spawn in the number 2 place. I know, it's wild. Somehow, the Chaos Spawn, which were already probably the best skirmishing unit in the game in the old Index World Eaters, are somehow better. So these guys now have Advance in Charge natively off of a base move of 10. And a scout move of 8. This is gross. That means on some of your deployments like Search and Destroy, even without an advance in charge, they're still moving up to 18 inches if they go first, which means they're in your opponent's deployment zone without even advancing charging. This means that basically on every single map, these dudes can get into your deployment zone turn 1. And they hit harder now. So they have D6 plus 4 attacks base, as opposed to the old D6 plus 3 attacks base. Now they do have a weapon skill of 4. So one of the things that you're going to want to combo with these guys is you're going to want to combo a unit of 8 bound nearby to give them the plus 1 to hit, which will make a pretty darn big difference. But that gives you 2d6 plus 8 or 10 attacks if you're in Berserker Warband on the charge at strength 5, 6 in Berserker Warband, AP 1, potentially 2 in Berserker Warband, or damage 2 for the unit. So as you can see, these guys are just amazing, and their points costs are going to be relatively low. If I remember correctly, it was 75 points for these. It's so hard to say, oh, I don't want that. Like, name me another skirmishing unit that can do this for 75 points. And they might even be 80. Now, I can't exactly remember, but regardless, 80 points and less, this squad is a beast, literally, because they have the beast keyword, which means they can also move through walls. With the scout move, they can easily get any secondaries you need them to get. They can get early objectives. They can do all of your early skirmishing. They're still not super easy to kill. They do have that 5 up feel no pain still. These guys are just amazing, and you're going to love them everywhere. They definitely, for sure, particularly like Berserker Warband, especially since they can like proc the sticky objectives when they are shot to death. But man, you're not going to find a single detachment where you won't want one of these units. It's so good for early engagements. And then for the number 1 unit of the new Codex, it's the Berserkers. The Humble Berserker is taking the high road here. Now, this is one of the interesting ones where initially, I think a lot of the World Eaters community were freaking out because, oh, Berserkers are terrible now. They're only strength 4 base, not strength 5. Please. The difference between a D6 Blood Surge and a D6 plus 2 Blood Surge is unreasonable. That means, at minimum, your opponents have to stand 4 inches away from you when they want to shoot you, because you're, at minimum, moving 3 inches with your Blood Surge. That's bad. That's really, really, on the worst Blood Surge roll possible, you're going 3. Your opponents cannot stand closer than 4 inches. This is going to give you so much ability to play the game in so many different detachments. In Berserk Warband, you have a flat 8-inch Blood Surge. In Gore Track, you can get shot from if your Rhino gets shot, you can get out and then Blood Surge, which basically gives you 3 inches on the disembark, plus 2 inches, plus your D6 plus 2-inch surge. So it's more or less a Blood Surge at plus 5 in Gore Track. This is so disgusting. This combos really well with the new Rhinos, which will allow you to disembark whenever an enemy unit ends within 9 inches of the Rhino, which can let you set up heroic interventions. It can let you set up all sorts of nasty things. So these guys are total beast. There's lots of ways to buff them. If you're in Berserker Warband, you can give them bonus AP. You can even give them advance and charge in Berserker Warband and the flat inch, like we said earlier. If you're in Vessels of Wrath, you can give them bonus strength and bonus AP. If you're in Gore Track, we talked a lot about Gore Track yesterday. You can give them freaking everything. And they love every single leader. The Lord with Juggernaut, the Juggerlord, or World Eater's Lord on Juggernaut, gives them a flat 10-inch move instead of the 8-inch move. This is going to be super useful in the Red Tide build. And I'm working on a Red Tide build right now where you're looking, it's not exactly going to be 120 Berserkers, but it's going to be kind of close, because that's going to be a real list that you can play. Like, just straight up 120 Berserkers saying, let's go, is going to be a real army. It's not exactly that, but it's also not super far off. But that makes them very, very fast, very, very speedy, especially when you combine it with that auto 8 Blood Surge move. Karn loves these guys. Karn gives them the rerolls 1s to hit and wound. So when you lead them with Karn, it just gets gross. And the Master of Executions is also still a very good choice, because he's going to give you the ability to re-roll your Blood Surge moves. And specifically in Gore Track, there's an enhancement where you can give him fights first. So he basically becomes every bit as disgusting as he was previously. So, guys, Berserkers are amazing. They fit into every single detachment. They're always good. They're always there for you. And I'm really pumped up to see people put some Berserkers on the table. So these are my top 4 units from the World Eaters Codex. And remember, that doesn't mean there aren't other really good units. Kind of like I was talking about the hellbrute. The hellbrute is really good, but he's really good only in one detachment. The other detachments, he's kind of like, eh. So I was trying to do units here that are really good in every single detachment. So I'd like to hear your thoughts. What do you think? How did I do? Did I miss any of the generically just amazing units that are going to be great everywhere? If I did, let me know in the comments down below. I'll be back to continue the Week of Blood later, but I think I'm going to be doing a double drop today. My next video isn't specifically going to be about World Eaters, but it's going to be about some very bloodthirsty Votan. So tune in for that. Guys, with that, I'm going to take off. I hope you have an amazing freaking day, and crop on. Bye-bye.